The ground beneath you trembles. The air grows thick with ash. You're in Pompeii, 79 AD, and you have minutes to escape the deadliest volcano in ancient history. The people around you are frozen, confused, but you have a secret weapon. This survival guide. What if you could go back to the most terrifying moments in human history, armed with the one thing the victims never had? A plan. In this video, we're dropping you into 7 of the most terrifying moments ever recorded, and we'll give you the step-by-step guide to making it out alive. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius, 79 AD. It's a deceptively normal day in Pompeii on August 24th, 79 AD. But then, a deafening boom echoes from the mountain that looms over your city. A strange, massive cloud begins to rise, shaped like a pine tree, blotting out the sun. This is your first and only warning. While many of your neighbors will pause, confused, you must do the opposite. The people of Pompeii had experienced earth tremors before, but they didn't truly understand they were living in the shadow of an active volcano. Your survival hinges on one thing: immediate evacuation. Forget your stuff. Forget waiting for it to make sense. The moment ash and pumice begin to fall, you have to run. The people who hesitated, who hid inside their stone homes, were tragically mistaken. Those homes became tombs, first crushed by the weight of falling rock, then flash-heated by pyroclastic flows, avalanches of superheated gas and ash that can reach speeds of over 100 miles per hour. Your strategy is simple. Move away from the volcano as fast as you can. Don't head for the sea. The waves will be choked with volcanic debris, making escape by boat nearly impossible. Instead, run south, away from the path of the deadly cloud. Those who fled at the first sign of trouble, without a moment's delay, were the ones who lived to tell the tale. They resettled in nearby communities, carrying the story of the city that vanished in a day. Your decisiveness is your only shield. All right, let's jump forward to 1347. A ship has just docked in a European port, bringing with it not just silks and spices, but microscopic assassins. The Black Death has arrived, a plague that will wipe out up to half of Europe's population. You see neighbors suddenly develop fevers and painful swellings, called buboes, before dying within days. Panic is in the air, but you have a plan. In an age with no concept of germ theory, your greatest weapon is something they couldn't possibly understand: social distancing. Your first move is to get out of the city. The plague spreads like wildfire in crowded, unsanitary urban centers where infected fleas on rats thrive. Head for a sparsely populated rural area, ideally an isolated village. Once you're there, enforce a strict quarantine. No visitors, no contact with the outside world. This might seem cruel, but it's the only way. The city of Milan, for instance, survived with a much lower death rate by taking extreme measures, ruthlessly sealing up the houses of the infected to contain the spread. While others turned to useless remedies, you'll rely on isolation. It's a lonely strategy, but it's the one that works. The sinking of the Titanic, 1912. You're a passenger on the grandest ship ever built, the RMS Titanic. It's a calm, frigid night when you feel a sudden, jarring shudder. The engines stop. Crew members are telling everyone that it's nothing to worry about. But you know this is a lie. The unsinkable ship has hit an iceberg and is going down. Step 1. Ignore the reassurances. Don't go back to your cabin. Go immediately to the upper boat deck. While others hesitate, confused by the chaos, you need to be in position. Only about a third of the people on board will survive, and your place among them depends on acting without delay. Second, grab a life jacket. It won't save you from the freezing water forever, but it will buy you precious time. Finally, and most critically, get into a lifeboat. Don't hesitate. Many lifeboats were launched half full because passengers were reluctant to leave the seeming safety of the massive ship for a tiny boat in the dark. That was a fatal mistake. Second Officer Charles Lightoller, the most senior officer to survive, only made it by clinging to an overturned collapsible boat until rescue arrived. Your goal is to get off the sinking ship. Decisive action is your only hope. It is 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, in Hiroshima. Suddenly, the sky ignites with a white flash that is brighter and hotter than the sun. You don't have time to understand what it is. You have seconds, literally seconds, to react. Your survival depends entirely on what you do in the instant before the blast wave hits. The single most important action is to find cover. Don't look up. Drop to the ground and get behind the thickest, most solid barrier you can find. A concrete wall, a ditch, anything. People who were inside reinforced concrete buildings, even close to the hypocenter, had a chance. One survivor, Akiko Takakura, was inside the bank of Hiroshima, just 300 meters from the blast, and lived. The moment the initial explosion and shockwave pass, your next priority is to get out of the city. Do not linger. Fires will be spreading everywhere, and a toxic black rain containing radioactive fallout may begin to fall. Another survivor, Toshiko Tanaka, was alive because her family had moved to a residence 1.4 miles from ground zero just the week before the bombing. Distance is life. Get away from the city center as quickly as you can, moving carefully. You can't undo the exposure you've already received, but you can prevent a more lethal dose. You're in London, 1666. It's a city of narrow streets and timber-framed houses packed together like kindling. A fire has started in a bakery on Pudding Lane, and thanks to a strong wind and a dry summer, it's spreading with terrifying speed. There's no organized fire brigade, and the Lord Mayor has famously dismissed the blaze, saying a woman might piss it out. You can't rely on anyone else. Your strategy is pure and simple. Run. First, figure out which way the wind is blowing and run against it, away from the smoke and flames. Whatever you do, don't try to save your possessions. People who loaded up carts created traffic jams in the narrow streets, trapping themselves and everyone else. Traveling light is key. You must avoid the smoke. Stay low to the ground where the air is clearer. Many victims of the fire didn't burn to death. They suffocated. Finally, head for open spaces. Your goal is the River Thames or the fields outside the city walls. Some people escaped by boat. The fire will rage for 4 days and destroy most of the medieval city. Your survival depends not on fighting it, but on outrunning it. You're on a beautiful beach in Southeast Asia on December 26, 2004. You've just felt a massive earthquake. Now, you notice something strange. The ocean is rapidly pulling back, exposing the seafloor and leaving fish flopping on the sand. While other tourists stare in wonder, you know this is not a marvel. It's a terrifying warning. You have only minutes. Your one and only move is to run inland and get to the highest ground possible. Do not wait, do not gather belongings, do not try to film it. An indigenous tribe in the region, the Moken, survived with almost no casualties because their ancestral knowledge told them that when the sea recedes, a giant wave is coming. They fled to the hills immediately. Buildings won't protect you. The force of the water will demolish concrete and wood alike. Many survivors recount being swept away, only living by clinging to floating debris for hours. But the surest path to survival was recognizing the ocean's retreat as a critical warning and using the precious few minutes it gave you to gain elevation. Your knowledge is what will save your life. Finally, you find yourself inside the walls of a medieval city. An enemy army has arrived, not for a quick battle, but for a siege. They've surrounded you, cutting off all food and supplies. This isn't a disaster that's over in moments, but one that will last for months. Your primary enemies are now starvation and disease. Honestly, your best chance was to have left before the city was completely encircled. But now that you're trapped, you need a new plan. Your top priorities are securing a source of clean water and rationing any food you can find. A castle's well was its lifeline, but in a crowded city, water could easily become contaminated. Next, you have to avoid disease at all costs. Overcrowded conditions are a perfect breeding ground for sickness, which often killed more people than starvation or battle during a siege. Attackers even used a primitive form of biological warfare, catapulting diseased corpses over the walls to spread sickness. Your survival in a siege is a grim waiting game. It's a test of endurance, where managing your limited resources and staying healthy are the only keys to outlasting your enemy. Each of these events was a brutal test of human endurance. While most victims were caught by surprise, survival was often possible with the right knowledge and immediate action. If you find these historical survival scenarios as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next trip into the past. From a collapsing volcano to a sinking ship, a few key principles always seem to apply. Act immediately and decisively. Create distance between yourself and the hazard. Understand the warnings the environment is giving you, and abandon your possessions in favor of speed. The survivors of history's deadliest events often weren't the strongest or the luckiest, but the ones who recognized the danger for what it was and moved without a second thought. So, let us know in the comments, which of these 7 events do you think would be the most terrifying to live through, and what other historical disasters should we cover next? Thanks for watching.